It is Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys are having a good time on the holidays. I am going to be prepping some food today that I'm going to be taking to my parents tomorrow. So I wanted to give you a few ideas on some easy, quick appetizers that you can make. So let me go ahead and turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. And I have my water next to me. I've got a little bit of coffee going on. So I am ready for this marathon. The first thing I'm gonna do is I've got a little tiny crock pot, and I'm going to do an appetizer in here for my husband. My parents are going to do hot dogs and sauce at their house. So I'm going to do a similar thing, but I'm going to be using some barbecue sauce that is more keto friendly. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take these hot dogs and I'm going to cut them up into coins. I am using Nathan's hot dogs, and these are 1 gram of carb per hot dog. So just be aware that there is carbs in this recipe, but these are some of the better hot dogs that we've found, and so these are the ones. I've got an extra big package of them. For some reason my husband bought a lot recently, so I thought, why not, we'll make this. And this is one of the things, it's a little bit different than what we used to make, and he's a little disappointed that we can't make it what we used to. What we used to do is just take the hot dogs and mix them equal parts mustard and grape jelly. But because grape jelly is not a really keto-friendly thing, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and just fill this up about halfway, because more than likely he's about the only one that's going to be eating it, and I don't want to make too much. What I'm going to put on here is G. Hughes's sugar-free barbecue sauce. This one is the hickory flavor. This has 2 grams of carbs per 2 tablespoons. So again, this is going to have carbs in it, but it is sugar-free. They do use Splenda. They don't use stevia, which is a little disappointing, but you know, I'm not a good barbecue sauce maker, so I would rather just go ahead and buy this. And all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna throw this in here, and this is about half a bottle of barbecue sauce. And that's it. I'm gonna put the lid on it and I'm gonna put it in my refrigerator. And then tomorrow, once we get to my mom and dad's house, I'll go ahead and plug it in. So 1 dish done. Not bad, huh? All right, so bear with me while I get set up for the next thing. All right, I'm back with my next recipe. I'm gonna just prep a little bit of it in this video, and I'll prep the rest of it off camera because I need to, you know, snap the ends off all of the green beans. But what this is these are fresh green beans, and this is the beef you saw me marinating in my last video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it out a slice at a time, and I'm just gonna cut it into little slices. Oh, put that one back. And we're just gonna make them really nice, thin little strips. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around. Oh, there we go. So this is my first time doing this, so if I'm really sloppy with it, please, please don't fuss at me. Okay, so there we go. That's what I'm going to do with all of these. I've got a container that I'm going to put them in, and I'm just going to leave them on here. And again, this is another thing that when I get to Mom's house tomorrow, I will just go ahead and throw in her oven. And I suspect that, you know, 375 for, you know, 20 minutes or less should just about do it. Looks like some of these pieces are a little long, so I'm going to cut this one in half And there we go. So yeah, this is just that marinated beef that I made earlier this week. The marinade is just Bragg's liquid aminos and some ginger and some cayenne. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing this. And like I said, I'm not gonna do all of this right now just because it's time consuming, and I'm not gonna do it all on the video, but I just wanted to show you one thing that I'm going to do to take with, and what I'm going to do to prep it so that I don't have as much to do tomorrow. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up this last one right here. And as you can imagine, it's a bit of a mess, but that's okay. So here's the start of my my teriyaki beef wrapped green beans. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause right here, and I'm gonna go grab the next thing that I'm going to make. All right, I'm back, and I'm back with the next thing I'm going to prep. As you can see, I've got some broccoli here, and all I'm doing is I'm just making these into a little bit smaller pieces than they originally were. Because what I'm gonna do, some of them I'm taking the stems off, they're just a little bit too long. And what we're gonna do is we're actually going to wrap these in bacon. What I'll do is I'll just wrap them in bacon, and we'll bake these until they're cooked. I mean, I know that baked broccoli is a thing, and I thought, why not wrap it with bacon? I bet that would be a really good thing. So, like I said, I'm gonna split these into littler bites so they're not so huge, because some of these are quite enormous, and I'm not gonna wrap bacon around all of that. Again, this is one of those recipes that I will finish off camera just because of how long it's going to take. But I wanted to show you, I got the cheap bacon, okay, the thin sliced bacon, because you're going to want to wrap it around. The thicker bacon is not going to work as good for this recipe because it is thicker, and it won't wrap as well. So let's see. So all I'm gonna do is take a piece, and I even got the, you know, the ends and stuff, the irregular slices it's called. And so yeah, so that should work really well for this. And that's it. That's all I'm gonna do with these, is just wrap them in bacon. And again, I've got another one of these containers, so I'm going to use that to put these in. I was thinking that maybe I'd have to do like toothpicks or something like that, but I don't think so. And it looks like some of these slices are probably gonna be ones that I'll want to cut in half, because some of these pieces are smaller, and that's fine. I mean, that way we can get more out. And the reason I'm doing this is because I really wanted to make ramaki this year. And ramaki is basically bacon wrapped water chestnuts. And it's an old recipe from the 50s and 60s, and it's a really good recipe. But when I went to look for water chestnuts, whole water chestnuts, I could only find slices, and the slices, there was 2 servings in the can, and it was 15 grams of carbs per serving. And because it was such a high number, I chose not to do it. And so that's why I drew back, and I thought, you know what, let's try broccoli wrapped in bacon. And because I can't have bacon, that's why we are doing the teriyaki wrapped green beans. So as you can tell, it's not like it takes forever to do. It's just that I will end up having to split the broccoli and as I'm going along, so that's why I'm just not going to do it all on camera for you. But you know, oh, you know what, that one probably could have used a whole slice, so I'm gonna just do that. And there you go. So here is the bacon wrapped broccoli that I'm going to bake in the oven until the bacon is crisp, and that should make the broccoli really nice and cooked too. So let me set up for the next thing and I will be right back. All right, the next thing I'm gonna make is dill dip. I know that my mother is going to have a meat and cheese platter there, and she's also gonna have a veggie platter. And I could have her veggie dip if I wanted to, but it's got ingredients in it that I can't have. So I'm gonna go ahead and just make up a little bit for myself. And I like to make it up a day ahead because it'll meld the flavors better. So I've put in here about half a cup of sour cream and probably about a teaspoon of dill. And I'm gonna put in some salt as well. I got this salt at Dollar Tree. It is 16 ounces for $1, and I really like it because it's a smaller grind of kosher salt, but it's just salt. So this is a really good a good deal for $1. And that's it. Let me taste it. Maybe a touch more salt. And maybe a touch more dill. The other thing that I could do in here if I wanted to thin it out would be to add a little bit of lemon juice. The lemon juice will give it a little bit of a tang, but it also thins it out a little bit if I wanted it thinner. But I think that's it. So that is that, and I will be back in a couple of, in a minute, and I will show you the next thing. The next thing is going to take a little bit to set up though. So I'll be back. All right, the next thing I'm gonna make is meatballs. I'm gonna do mini meatballs, and I'm going to make my cheese sauce. I've got a recipe on that, and I'm gonna make a Hollandaise sauce, which I've already got a video on that. So I'm not gonna make those on camera today, but I wanted to show you what I'm doing. So I got a couple of pounds of ground beef this week, and it was on sale. So I went ahead and I actually got these for 50% off. They were like $1.80 something after the 50% off. So I've got the ground beef here, and then I like to mix my meats. So I also have here some ground chicken. Now I don't buy ground chicken because ground chicken is overpriced. You pay for the convenience of it already being ground, but I am going to go ahead and grind it myself. Now I've got this teeny tiny grinder right here, so it will take me a few minutes to do, but I wanted to show you the method for grinding your own meat. And this can be used for chicken, for pork, for beef, for turkey, whatever meat you want to use. You're going to use the same method. And I got this little grinder at this little mini food processor at Dollar General. It was $5, so I thought I'd try it and see how it works. What I'm using to grind up today is these chicken thigh fillets. As you can see, they are free range. They were originally $10. I got it for $4.77. So I definitely want to use this up as quickly as possible, and if not, I will freeze the rest. So what I'm gonna do is just do a rough cut on these. You want to have them in smaller bits just because you're gonna be grinding them. And if I was doing this in my regular food processor, I would be making these a little more chunky, but because I am using the little one because I didn't feel like pulling out the big one and cleaning up the big one when I was done, truth be told. So I'm gonna put these in here, and I'm only gonna do one thigh at a time. But if you're using a big food processor, you can do more than one at a time. And all you do is and that's it. What I normally do is I just put all the stuff that's at the top. I just kind of rotate it a little bit and do another quick run of it. And that's it. So I am going to continue to grind up this meat. I'm not gonna do the whole thing of it because this is like over 3 pounds. I don't need 3 pounds of chicken. I'm probably only gonna use about 6 thighs. And then I'll be done, and then I'll be ready to add my spices and make my meatballs. So I will continue to do this, and when I am ready to add my spices, I will be back. Alright guys, I'm back, and I'll tell you what, the struggle was real with the chicken thighs, so I only did 5 of them, but as you can see, they're well chopped up. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to add spices. Let me pull up my sleeves a little bit because this is where the messy starts. So I'm going to make these Italian flavored. So all of my measuring spoons are in my dishwasher right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just use a 1 teaspoon. And 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6 teaspoons is going to be 2 tablespoons. So I chose to use a teaspoon, first of all, because it was the only one I had, and also because that's mostly the size I'm going to need. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. You know what, because this is probably like 3 or 4 pounds, I am going to do 2 teaspoons. I've got... I found this at Walmart yesterday. I was real excited. It's organic fennel seed. And fennel is going to give you that, that Italian sausage kind of flavor. So let me go ahead. And I'm actually, fennel can be a little strong, so I am only going to add about a teaspoon of that in here. And then the last thing I'm going to add is going to be a little bit of rosemary, just because I like rosemary in my meatballs. And I'm going to add about a teaspoon of that as well. So we've got 2 tablespoons of oregano, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of fennel, and 1 teaspoon of rosemary. Not going to add eggs, I'm not going to add pork rinds, I'm not going to do any of that crazy stuff. I'm just going to add spices. I can't have pork rinds, we don't need bread, so I could add an egg if I wanted to, but that's one of the reasons why I use the chicken, because chicken is definitely much softer than the ground beef, so that will give it that looseness that we want. So now comes the fun part where we just mix it all in together and, you know, just squeeze through it, squeeze it around, and we're going to go ahead and mix it really, really well. This is not one of those recipes where you can just use a spoon. You definitely need to get your hands in it and get it really incorporated. And I don't know if you can see, I'm squeezing it through my fingers to kind of get it broken up and mixed up. And ideally, I try to have my meat at room temperature because it's really cold and it makes your fingers really, really cold. But this wasn't really, I'm trying to get this done before my oldest daughter gets here today. She's gonna be spending the night with us for Christmas Eve, and I'm so excited. So I'm trying to get this stuff out of the way before she gets here so that we can just visit and enjoy our time together. This is really good. This is a good workout. My arm right now is definitely pretty tired, but as you can see, it does look like everything is getting incorporated really nicely into here. So then we are going to move on to making these meatballs. Like I said, I'm going to be putting these with, I'm going to be bringing a cheese sauce and a Hollandaise sauce. So these will be really good. And I'm going to make these smaller than I normally do. They are going to cook down a little bit, so I'm going to make these about that big. And that's it. I mean, you could make them smaller if you wanted to. You could make them bigger if you wanted to. Ooh, there's a big chunk of chicken right there. That one didn't get whizzed up good enough. Okay. But anyway, so that's all I'm gonna do with these, is just make them into meatballs and attempt to not let them get bigger as I go along, because that is my tendency. And these can be put together. Some people will saute these in a skillet. I've always been a baker of meatballs. I used to make meatballs for spaghetti when the kids were little, and this is exactly what I would do. I never really used breadcrumbs or anything like that, though I knew that was part of the recipe. I just never did it. So, and as you can see, I'm not spreading them out. I'm putting them pretty close together. And you try to make them as even as possible, as evenly sized as possible, so they all cook at the same rate. But as you can see, I'm not very good at that. You could use an ice cream scoop. I've thought about getting one of those, but I just haven't. And so, yeah, I don't make meatballs near often enough. And I really should, because I really do like meatballs. And they make a really nice lunch. You can add them, chop them up and put them in a salad, or you could put a sauce on them with green beans or your favorite vegetable. And yeah, so meatballs can be fun, and obviously this recipe makes a lot, but when I go to my parents' house, I try to make enough that I know I won't have to worry about what I'm eating, and that, you know, I can share with everybody. We are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, we'll be 8 people there tomorrow. And believe me, there will be plenty of food, and I will have leftovers, which I'm kind of, that's another reason why I'm making so many today, is because I want leftovers. I like prep cooking, you guys know that. So if I do all this in one day, it's less I have to do next week when I have to go back to work. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue doing this. These will bake at 375 for about 20 to 30 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. And once they're done being cooked, I'll put a picture of them in this video, and so you can see the finished product. But for now, that is all I'm prepping for tomorrow. I think that's it. Other than the Hollandaise and the cheese sauce, I will, which I will link those videos down below. I will be done with my prepping for today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you guys have a really Merry Christmas, and that you have many blessings throughout the year. You guys really mean a lot to me, and I'm really glad that you're on this journey with me. I said that in my Facebook group today, and I totally mean it. I really enjoy the journey that we can go on together with this, where we can learn together. And so thank you guys for everything, for all that you do, because you inspire me. And so you guys have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I hope that some of the recipes that I put out this week give you ideas of things that maybe you can take to New Year's Eve parties, or you know, Christmas things. And that's it. So thank you so much, guys. Merry Christmas.